जीव जागो गोरा चंद्र बोले जीव जागो गोरा चंद्र बोले कोता निद्र जाओ माया पिशाचिर कोले भजिबो बोलिया एसे संसार भितरे भूलिया रोहिले तुमी अविद्यार भरे তোমারে লইতে আমি হইনু অবতার আমি বিনা বন্ধু আর কে আছে তোমার এনেছি অসধি মায়া নাশিবার লাগি हरि नाम महामंत्र लाओ तुमी मागी भक्ति विनोद प्रभु चरणे पड़िया भक्ति विनोद प्रभु चरणे पड़िया से हरि नाम मंत्र लाओ मागिया जीव जागो गोरा चंद्र बोले तो निद्रा जाओ माया पिशाचिर खोले जीव जागो गोरा चंद्र बोले कतो निद्रा जाओ माया पिशाचिर खोले भक्ति विनोद प्रभु चरणे पड़िया से हरि नाम मंत्र लोइलो मागिया Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Damodar Radha Damodar Radhe Jai Jagannatha Baladeva Subhadra Mai Jai Sudarshana Jai Gauranitai Gauranitai Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai, Shri Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai, Shri Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai, Sama Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschate Satarine. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So everyone kindly repeat after me. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Gana.
Jaya Jaya Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Gana.
Shakti Deha Kore Yena Chaitanya Varnana.
Shakti Deha Karayena Chaitanya Varnana.
Jaya Jaya Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Gana.
Jaya Jaya Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Gana.
Shakti Deha Kore Yena Chaitanya Varnana.
Shakti Deha Karayena Chaitanya Varnana.
So Hare Krishna and welcome again to today's discussion on the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 4, entitled The Confidential Reasons for the Lord's Appearance. Last time we started our discussion on the third unfulfilled desire of Krishna. So it's remarkable that we learnt in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that when Krishna comes to perform his Leela in this world, And after performing such amazing pastimes with his parents, with his friends, with the gopis, there were 3 unfulfilled desires that he went back to his transcendental realm. And we discussed the first 2 in great detail. Does anyone remember the first one?
Yes, Prabhuji. He wanted to become Ashray.
So he wanted to switch roles. So he is the subject of everyone's love, especially the gopis' love. And he wanted to become the lover. So he's the loved and the gopis are the lovers. So he wanted to switch roles. Why? Why? Why was it that he wanted to switch roles?
Because he was saying that Radharani is getting more happiness in serving him.
Okay, no. I mean, partially right, yes. But
To know how what she experienced, same Lord want to experience.
you're right, you have entered into the 3rd unfulfilled desire today. So he saw that their love was so immensely great and inconceivable that he wanted to get that experience. He saw their love was so great that the only way he could understand it was to switch roles. And the second reason,
He was
second unfulfilled desire,
Experiences beauty.
his sweetness.
So he wanted to taste or understand his own sweetness. So just like if someone has unlimited qualities, so how will they understand their unlimited qualities? How will they understand best? Or how will they experience their unlimited qualities? But how will they observe themselves?
By hearing from someone else.
By hearing. Okay.
By being on the other side.
By being on other side, on any other side?
Serving.
Whose side?
Person who is
So who's experiencing that sweetness?
So someone who is actually experiencing that sweetness and who's appreciating that sweetness to the maximum. So the easiest way is to take their position. And Krishna can do anything. So he decides to, what does he decide? He decides to take,
The role of
yes, the role of the lover. Right? And who's the best lover? Srimati Radharani. So that's why he takes the bhav of Srimati Radharani in his avatar as Lord Caitanya. And then we started to discuss his 3rd unfulfilled desire. And before Kaviraj Goswami shares the 3rd unfulfilled desire, he talks about again the greatness of the love of the gopis. And he begins to differentiate what is love and what is lust. How do we understand the greatness of the gopis' love? We should first understand what is real love. And how does it differ from lust? So the difference between prem and kam, which he shares in a very beautiful verse, in verse number 165. So let us recite this verse again today. Atmendriya priti vancha tare boli kama, Krishnendriya priti cha dhare prema nama. So desire to gratify one's own senses is calm, lust. But the desire to please the senses of Lord Krishna is prema. That is real love. And the gopis, they are the perfect examples of this. That they served Krishna without any sense of selfishness. They didn't have any ulterior motive or any selfish desire to fulfill in their service to the Lord. And it's explained that the gopis, they practically renounced everything. So Kaviraj Goswami, he starts to explain that why is the gopis' love genuine love? How is it that it is not calm? So the first thing he starts with, which we discussed last time, that the gopis, they renounced everything for Krishna. And it's explained in verses 167 through 169 that they renounced social customs, they renounced scriptural injunctions. That means basically they practically renounced their reputation. And they renounced their bodily demands, fruitive action, shyness, patience, bodily pleasures, sense gratification, and even the path of varnashram dharma, which is very difficult to give up. And not only that, they risked their relationships with their relatives, and they risked being punished and scolded by their elders. And why did they do all this? Yes, for the sake of serving Lord Krishna. They render loving service to Him for the sake of His enjoyment. So in 169 it's beautifully explained. Let's recite this verse. Sarva tyage kori kore Krishnera bhajana. Krishna sukha hetu kore prema sevana. This is so beautiful. Sarva tyaga kori kore Krishnera bhajan. And in what mood? Krishna sukha hetu. Their only interest is in the pleasure of Lord Krishna. And that's why it's explained that their love, their attachment to Lord Krishna, it is spotlessly pure. Just like a clean cloth. When you see a white cloth that has no stain. So their love is described like that. It's spotless, without a tinge of any ulterior motive, other than just to please Krishna. And then Kaviraj Goswami starts to explain from 171 that he says that love and lust are completely opposites. One is like darkness. Lust is like darkness. So what will love be like? Like the bright sun. They're totally opposite. And most of what we see in this world, in the guise of love, is very clearly lust. But it takes us, we have to have this kind of knowledge to be able to perceive that. Otherwise, we are so conditioned right from our teenage years that, love is just some romantic affair. And it's so deeply rooted in our consciousness, not only from this lifetime, from so many lifetimes, that we easily fall prey to this lust. In fact, Krishna declares that it's the eternal enemy of the soul. Mahasena, Mahapapma. It's formidable foe. Nitya Vairinam, Krishna says, eternal enemy. Because based on this attachment and attraction, practically every other attachment gets piled on. It's explained in the Bhagavatam that how from this attraction and this attachment, then there is, there's household, there's family, there are so many attachments, my house, my wife, my body. So many different attachments increase because of this attachment. And we get totally blinded. In fact, just Griha Medhi life, right? Life that is not Grihas or household life that is not centered around the worship of the Lord is practically described as a deep, dark well. I mean, it's almost like a hopeless situation. Only by some great mercy one can be pulled out. Otherwise, so many attachments, so many impressions on the false ego and the mind, so many temporary attractions, so many false hopes based on this attraction. So that's why in true Vedic life, right, one of the first training is in what? Brahmacharya. Becoming sober and understanding the true nature of what is love and what is lust, and how we should exercise control. And that founds the foundation of a life of tapasya. And it makes us it enables us to pursue spiritual life with determination. If you are not trained properly in brahmacharya, it becomes very, very difficult to practice spiritual life. So in the gopis' love, there is not the slightest taint of lust. And their relationship with Krishna is for whose enjoyment? For Krishna's enjoyment. And they're so attached to Krishna and his well-being that even when Krishna leaves them in the Ras Leela, the gopis are anxiously thinking that Krishna has wandered away into the forest. And what will be happening to his feet? There'll be all stones in the dark, there'll be pebbles, there'll be thorns. And this mood of surrender they offer them, they said, we offer the softest part of our body to Krishna. So they're thinking this in their minds. They're so actually morose and broken-hearted because Krishna has left them. But still, they're thinking of Krishna's well-being. So in the Bhagavatam 10:31-19, they say that, "Oh dearly beloved, your lotus feet are so soft that we place them gently on our breasts, fearing that your feet will be hurt." They say, "Our life rests on you. Our minds therefore are filled with anxiety that your tender feet may be wounded by pebbles as you roam about on the forest path." So just think of their consciousness. Even in that distressed state, they're thinking about Krishna's well-being. So let's recite 174. Atma sukha dukkhe gopir nahi ka vichar. Atma sukha dukkhe gopir nahi ka vichar. Krishna sukha hetu cheshta mano vyavhar. Krishna sukha hetu cheshta mano vyavhar. So we can appreciate their mindset. What is their mano vyavhar? Krishna sukha hetu. Just to please Krishna. And they're not concerned about their own personal sukh or dukh. Nahi ka vichar. So deep is their love for Krishna that they renounced everything. Let's recite 175. Krishna lagi ar sabha kori parityaga. Krishna lagi ar sabha kori parityaga. Krishna sukha hetu kare shuddha anuraga. Krishna sukha hetu kare shuddha anuraga. They renounced everything for Krishna. They have pure attachment to giving Krishna pleasure. This is their Shuddha Anuraga. And that's why Krishna, when he returns after leaving the Ras Leela, he tells them, he tells the gopis that he acknowledges their surrender. And he says that, "I know you have renounced everything. You have renounced social customs, your relatives, your spiritual injunctions. You renounced everything. And the only reason I disappeared," what was that reason? To increase your concentration, to increase your intensity for me. Since I disappeared for your benefit, he says, you should not be displeased with me. Just see how Krishna is so expert. Krishna is saying, please don't be displeased with me.
I live for your benefit.
Yes. It's explained that the gopis' love is so pure and they're so surrendered by their renunciation and not caring at all for their reputation, that Krishna says that I had made a promise before. And what was that promise? He says in the Bhagavad Gita, "Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam stateva bhajami aham." That in whatever way my devotee surrenders to me, I reward them accordingly. This is the assertion that Krishna makes in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. But can he keep it? Yes, except in the case of the gopis. He says that the gopis' love is so pure and so selfless and so focused on pleasing Krishna that Krishna raises his hands and he says that I am unable to reciprocate with the gopis' love. He declares it in the Bhagavatam. This is the concluding verse of the 32nd chapter of the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's verse number 22 of that chapter. 10:32-22. So after appeasing the gopis, he tells them that I'm unable to reciprocate with your love. Your love is so great that even me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is unable to reciprocate. So it's inconceivable how great their love is. And that even the Lord of all, Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, He is the cause of all causes. Everything. He is the Param Brahma. But still, He is raising His hands. He is admitting defeat. And He is saying that your love is so great that I can't reciprocate with it. So it's explained beautifully in 179 that Sei pratigya bhanga hoile gopira bhajane Tahate pramana Krishna Shri Mukha Vachane. So we heard that how Krishna admits his inability to reciprocate with the devotees. And Prabhupada writes that Krishna was never ungrateful to the gopis. For as he declares to Arjun in the verse from the Bhagavad Gita, he reciprocates with his devotees in proportion to the transcendental loving service they render unto him. Everyone follows the path that leads towards him, but there are different degrees of progress on that path, and the Lord is realized in proportion to one's advancement. The path is one, but the progress of realization of this goal, namely the absolute personality of Godhead, is also different. The gopis attained the highest goal, and Lord Caitanya affirmed that there is no method of worshipping God higher than followed by the gopis. So this is the beautiful feature of Krishna consciousness, that as we apply ourselves with sincerity and seriousness, what will we experience?
Same reciprocation from us.
Yes, we will experience reciprocation. And this is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. In fact, Prabhupada says that if we take one step, Krishna takes many steps towards us. So this is the greatness of the Lord. So in this process, we are not alone. The more we become dependent and the more we plead for Krishna's help, what will Krishna do? He will certainly reciprocate. He may delay sometimes, just to see if we are really sincere. How strong is our desire? But is there any reason for Krishna not to reciprocate?
When he is not able to.
Normally we don't need that.
Yeah, so we have to love Krishna like the gopis. Then he will say, okay, I'm helpless. But for most of us, is there any reason that Krishna will not reciprocate? There's no reason. And Krishna has made this promise in the Gita. So should that inspire us or not?
Yes.
That Krishna is a loving God. He's a reciprocating God. And it's explained that, Prabhupada explains in many purports, he says that Krishna is always canvassing. Krishna is waiting. That when will this devotee come forward and ask for help? He will seek me in his day-to-day life. He'll call out for me. So Prabhupada says Krishna is waiting and he is canvassing. So it's so wonderful that we have such a willing God. But we have to make our cry sincere. We have to make our cry honest. We have to deepen our cry. So then Krishna will certainly reciprocate. Now the second way that the gopis love is totally free from lust. So the first thing is that they willingly renounce everything. They don't care for their own happiness or distress. They're only concerned for Krishna's welfare. So in that way, it's completely different from lust. Now how is it different? He explains that someone may raise this objection that we see that the gopis, they dress themselves with great attention. That they decorate their bodies, they dress up nicely. So aren't they really attached to their bodies? So in 81, Kaviraj Goswami, he starts to address this point. He says, Tobe je dekhiye gopir nij deha prita Se hota Krishnera lagi janiha nishchita. So Kaviraj Goswami is saying that know for sure, nishchita, janiya nishchita, know for sure that whatever affection we see the gopis have or show for their bodies, who's it for? For whose sake is it for? It's for Krishna's sake. So Prabhupada explains in the purport, he says, the selfless love of Godhead exhibited by the gopis cannot have any parallel. We should therefore not misunderstand the carefulness of the gopis in their personal decoration. The gopis dress themselves as beautifully as possible just to make Krishna happy by seeing them. They had no ulterior desires. They dedicated their bodies and everything they possessed to the service of Sri Krishna, taking it for granted that their bodies were meant for his enjoyment. They dressed themselves with the understanding that Krishna would be happy by seeing and touching them. So beautifully Prabhupada has explained this. And the gopis think that who's the real owner of their body? Krishna. They think that I have, or we have offered everything to Krishna. We have offered our body to Lord Krishna. Why? Because He is the true owner. And this body is for whose enjoyment? It's for Krishna's enjoyment. So therefore Bhaktivinoda Thakur he prays, Manas deho geho jo kichu moro, arpilu tuva pade nand kishore. So my mind, my body, my family, whose possessions are all this? My home. Whose possessions are all this? It's Krishna's. Krishna's the real owner. And this is the consciousness that we have to train our minds and consciousness. Especially as a grihastha, where we have many things written on paper claiming us as the owners, legal owners. But who's the ultimate owner of everything? And if the ultimate owner of everything is Krishna, then whatever we have is for whose purpose? Is to be engaged in Krishna's service. So whatever we have, our relationships, our talents, our abilities, our assets, whether they're physical assets or they're mental assets, our aspirations, our goals, right, our targets, everything should be in whose service? Krishna's service. So this is the process of Krishna consciousness, that gradually what we do, everything that we have, everything that we possess or aspire for, it has to be centered. Gradually it has become centered around Krishna, Krishna's pleasure. Samsiddhi haritoshanam. So this should be our meditation. This should be our endeavor. This should be our prayer. This should be our practice. Otherwise this will all remain theoretical. I mean, hearing the love of the gopis should inspire us to become sincere in our own practices. They're like our gurus. They're the perfect teachers. They're showing by their example what does it mean to love Krishna. What does it mean to become completely Krishna conscious? To become mad for Krishna. So this is how the gopis think, that this body is for his enjoyment, and Krishna finds joy in seeing and touching this body. It is for that reason that they decorate and clean their bodies. This is in verse number 183. And Krishna says in the Adi Puran, in 184, he says, O Arjun, there are no greater receptacles of deep love for me than the gopis, who cleanse and decorate their bodies because they consider them mine. Now when we think of ourselves, right, decorating ourselves, so much of the false ego is so prominent, that we try to look good to attract people to whom? To us. So this is another training for us. So when we comb our hair or decorate our bodies, our consciousness should be what? To engage our bodies in the service of Krishna and to attract others towards Krishna. Be an instrument. Make the body an instrument to attract and inspire others to take Krishna's shelter. Not that we want to become the center with our, whatever looks we may have, good, bad, not so good. So it's like when we are getting ready in the morning, we should think, okay, now I'm going to take Krishna's darshan. May Krishna be pleased by seeing us and bestow His mercy. It's such a different type of consciousness that even something so basic like cleansing our bodies and getting ready and wearing our clothes and becoming neat and clean. Prabhupada wanted us to be neat and clean. For what? To please Krishna and to serve Krishna. Now in 185, he says something really amazing. Let's recite this verse. Okay. Aro eka adbhut gopi bhavera swabhava buddhira gochara nahe jara prabhava. So there's another wonderful feature of the emotion of the gopis. Now he's going to further elaborate why gopis' love is completely free from lust and it is pure love. He says it's beyond the comprehension of intelligence. He says, Buddhira gochara nahi, right? Jahara prabhav. It's beyond the power of mundane intelligence. What he's going to share. So let's try and appreciate this. So 186. Gopi gana kore jabe Krishna ra darshana. Gopi gana kore jabe Krishna ra darshana. Sukha bancha nahi sukha hoy koti guna. Sukha bancha nahi sukha hoy koti guna. So when the gopis see Lord Krishna, they derive what? Unbounded bliss. But they don't have any desire for that pleasure. So even though they don't have that desire, so he says this is adbhut. Right? This is unusual. That they don't have the desire for that pleasure, but what do they experience? They experience, unbounded happiness. And their happiness is 10 million times greater than the pleasure Lord Krishna derives from seeing them. 187, let's recite this. Such a beautiful verse. Gopika darshane Krishner jay ananda hoy. Gopika darshane Krishner jay ananda hoy. Taha hoite koti guna gopi asvaday. Taha hoite koti guna gopi asvaday. The gopi tastes a pleasure 10 million times greater than the pleasure Lord Krishna derives from seeing them. And Prabhupada writes, the wonderful characteristics of the gopis are beyond imagination. They have no desire for personal satisfaction. Yet when Krishna is happy by seeing them, that happiness makes the gopis 1,000,000 times more happy than Krishna himself. So Prabhupada is revealing the secret of the gopis' unbounded happiness. And what is the secret he has shared?
By seeing the Lord.
Yes. So when the gopis go and see Krishna and they experience happiness on his face, what does it do to their own happiness? They become happier. And as they become happier, what happens to Krishna's happiness? So Krishna's happiness increases. So Krishna's happiness increases, then what happens to the gopis' happiness? Their happiness also increases. So, so Kaviraj Goswami says that there is some contradiction here. That even though they don't want to enjoy, they experience so much satisfaction and joy. And he says there's only one thing that he feels resolves this contradiction, which is 189. Let's read this verse. Ei virodhe ekmatra dekhi samadhana Gopikara sukha Krishna sukhe paryavasana. So what is the solution that he sees to resolve this contradiction? He says the joy of the gopis. Gopikara sukha Krishna sukhe paryavasan. So the joy of the gopis lies in the joy of their beloved Krishna. Isn't this remarkable? So Prabhupada says that this is a perplexing situation, that even though they don't want happiness, it's imposed upon them. He writes in the purport. And the solution to this perplexity is that Sri Krishna's sense of happiness is limited by the happiness of the gopis. So when Krishna sees the gopis happy, the gopis become more joyful, and then Krishna sees them become more joyful, Krishna becomes more joyful, and there is an endless increase in happiness on both sides. It is going on for eternity. Yes. So that's why devotees at Vrindavan therefore try to serve the gopis, namely Radha Rani and her associates. If one gains the favor of the gopis, he easily gains the favor of Krishna, because on the recommendation of the gopis, Krishna at once accepts the service of a devotee. Lord Caitanya therefore wanted to please the gopis instead of Krishna, but his contemporaries misunderstood him, and for this reason Lord Caitanya renounced the order of household life and became a sannyasi. So there's a beautiful pastime that takes place in Lord Caitanya's youth, which will be described at the end of the Adi Lila in chapter 14. We are in chapter 4, so 10 chapters later. That one time, when Lord Caitanya, he used to be a teacher, and so he had a lot of students. He used to run his pathshala. And one day what happens is he goes into ecstasy. And he goes into the mood of the gopis. And he starts to chant Gopi, Gopi, Gopi. So one of his students comes. So he tells him, hey, why are you chanting Krishna? Chant Gopi, Gopi, Gopi. Huh? So then, the student says, where's the student? Huh? Gopi is here. Gopi Dasi is here. So then the student says, what's wrong? And he gives evidence, Krishna's name, come on. It's the best thing you can do is chant Krishna's name. And right now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the mood of a gopi. So he starts to chastise the student. And Prabhupada explains in the purports there that just like when Uddhav came to Vrindavan, what did the gopis do? They expressed their love for Krishna. How did they express it? In anger and criticism. They expressed their love to Uddhav. Because they were so intensely crazy, mad in the separation of the love of Krishna. So in their madness, they were saying, what kind of person is this Krishna? So in the same mood, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's chastising his student, like, why are you taking Krishna's name? Take the gopi's name. And he goes to that extent that he starts to chase him with a stick. And he's almost about to beat his student in that madness. Now this student, there's a big group of students. He goes to them and he tells them that, look, our teacher's gone mad. He's become crazy. He's like, he almost is trying to hit me with a stick. He's causing great offense. And then everyone, they get charged up, all these Brahmins. They say, how dare, he pick up a stick and try to beat up on another Brahmin. And they become very upset. And then when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he realizes that, this has actually disturbed these Brahmins. And they become very angry. And they become very offensive towards Lord Caitanya. So he says the only way to redeem or to help these Brahmins from their offense is if he takes sannyas. That's one of the main reasons why he takes sannyas. So that people will take him more seriously. Otherwise, the Yuga Avatar, the purpose that he's come for would be completely defeated if all these Brahmins start, rejecting him. So that's what Prabhupada writes here. And for this reason, Lord Caitanya renounced the order of household life and became a sannyasi. So do you want to go on? You want to stop here? Okay, so we'll go for 9 more minutes. It's 6:36, 6:45 we'll stop. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhu. Just I had a small question. Probably the dynamics of gopis love is very, very complicated. No? Where it's in a very simplified form. They don't have any personal need for sense gratification. They only feel enjoyment when Krishna is happy, and Krishna's love is limited by the happiness of his own devotee, the gopis. So it's like a inverse proportional transaction. You increase,
Yes.
I increase, you increase, I increase. But ultimately the gopis will.
Yes, Krishna allows the gopis to win.
Because it is something which Shivaram Swami Maharaj ji has written in his Na Pare Ayam.
Yes.
Like perhaps.
Yes.
I just heard a bit of it when I was on lecture
Yeah, so in fact we
They were like pretty complicated. I think it's not as simple as I am assuming.
so not all of this we will be able to understand at our level. But at least we can theoretically appreciate that how selfless and pure the love of the gopis is. And because it's so pure, it's so selfless, and it's so centered on Krishna's enjoyment, that Krishna, he just becomes totally sold out. I mean, just imagine if someone, loves you so purely, so intensely, just to give you pleasure. I mean, we can't even imagine that in this world. The closest that we get a sense of this is like a mother's love for a child. But even that we see, sometimes it becomes completely contaminated. With age, with time. As you grow older, sometimes, things become they become not so pure and loving. So in material world, this is very, very rare. You can't expect this from a normal conditioned person.
Yeah, because understanding that love would be bringing them down to my level of material intelligence. Whereas actually to understand that I have to evolve or elevate to that level which is
Yes, we all have to evolve. Otherwise we can't understand this.
only by the mercy of acharyas.
Yes.
Not possible.
Yeah, otherwise it's not possible.
Because I'm trying to bring it down to my level of calculation, which is no. I have to evolve to that level by
Yes.
the mercy of my Lord.
Yes.
It's
So
a
we have to
very
pray.
complicated dynamic. I mean, not as simple as it.
It's actually very simple. It's simple for the simple minded. Because we have to accept that yes, we are conditioned. We have many different ulterior motives within our heart. And we need help. And that's why we approach Guru, we approach senior Vaishnavas, we approach our Acharyas, we approach these great devotees like the gopis. We pray to them. We pray to them to make us first feel helpless and become dependent on their mercy and their shelter. For us to even accept the shelter is so difficult. Just to give ourselves, even to Guru, to Shastra, to Sadhu, it's not so easy. We may be initiated, we may be, have spiritual names, we may have a Brahmin thread, but real surrender is not, marked by these kind of designations or by rituals. Yes, these are important, but these are not the only indicators of our surrender.
Externals, as it has to be very good.
Yes. So we have to go very much, deep internally. Just like, we may have a Brahmin thread, but we are so far off from being, at least I can speak for myself. Brahman's qualities are so elevated. So we've given an opportunity to become a Brahman. But if we think, okay, now I'm a Brahman because I'm doing deity worship and I can do the Abhishek. I mean, that's prematurely thinking that one is a Brahman. Brahman, you have to have Brahman's qualities. I mean, Brahman is it's a rare personality in this world today. To be a genuine Brahman, to be learned, to be completely renounced, to completely be dedicated to the truth. Brahman doesn't care about profit. That's the least of his concern.
Just like Vashishta Muni when Vishwamitra was almost murdered by his sons.
So, So Sita Komal Mataji, you have your hands raised. You want to ask your question now? Or is it answered? You can ask your question.
एक तो अभी I had two more doubts, but अभी जो current आपका discussion चल रहा था, can you hear me, Prabhu?
Yes.
Prabhu, अभी जो current discussion में you said a Brahman doesn't think about the profit, he has got least interest. So Prabhu, what are you trying to say in that context? Least profit.
Profit means Brahman doesn't care that, that just to appease, that he will withhold the truth just to appease you, so you will give him something, or so he's not concerned about his, you could say, his external situation or money or whatever. Brahman's a beggar. He's happy to beg and be dependent on the mercy of the Lord. So he'll not withhold the truth, he'll not sugarcoat something just to make you feel good, so you give him a good donation. So
Prabhu, they say that Brahmanas are not supposed to tell lie, right? They should, like Satyas and all, they can still say lie as per their professional commitments and tactics, whatever. So when we say they don't lie, that means, even if that means, a person, prospective devotee I'm talking, he may not come into the mission. You got my point, what I'm trying to say? He may offend, that is also a Brahmanical quality, that, at the cost of the...
Well, depends. That may be, that's one part of being a Brahmin, is being truthful. But it's not everything. Brahmin has to be clean, he has to be learned in scripture, he has to follow lots of rules and regulations, tapasya, he has to be charitable. So these are all the qualities of a Brahmin, and truthfulness is one of the qualities. Okay?
Got that.
Yes.
So within text 189, the first two lines, the situation of gopis is prospecting for, they don't want their happiness, but it's imposed upon them. And the solution is that Sri Krishna's sense of happiness is limited by the happiness of the gopis. So you explained, but I couldn't understand what does it mean.
So when they go to serve Krishna, their agenda is not that they will become happy in serving Krishna. So they go just for purely to serve Krishna for his enjoyment. But what happens is, when they see Krishna happy, what happens? Suppose you are serving someone and you see them happy. What will it make you feel?
Happy.
You become happy. So then what happens? When Krishna sees the gopis happy, his sweetness increases further. His happiness increases. So then the gopis become happier, because she sees that Krishna is becoming even happier. So they become happier. Now when Krishna sees that gopis are becoming happier, then he also becomes happier. So this is continually going on. So this is the solution.
Text number 178, where Prabhupada in the purport he says everyone follows the path that leads towards him, but there are different degrees of progress on that path, and the Lord is alive is supporting to one's advancement. So when we say our advancement on this journey, don't we say that our mercy, our efforts are of course important, but we are more dependent on the mercy of the Vaishnavas and the...
Yes, so what Prabhupada is saying here is that every spiritual seeker or practitioner is on the path of Krishna consciousness. That means ultimately, what is the ultimate goal? They may not know it now, but the ultimate path is leading to whom? To Krishna.
Krishna.
Yes. So that's why Krishna is saying that everyone follows my path. Okay. Now, but we will realize God. God is realized in proportion to one's advancement on the path. Right? So how far we are in the path, to that degree we will realize God. So someone who's say on step 1 and someone who's in step say 90, there's a difference, right? They have advanced much more in their spiritual quest and they realize more of God than say someone who has just started out. So that's what it means, that we will realize God depending on the proportion of our advancement on the journey. Just like if you want to go from Gurgaon to some of your relatives in Delhi, right? So you start early and you are there almost, if it's 30 kilometers, you are there, you have only 1 kilometer to go. And so your husband started late, right? He's like 15 kilometers away. So you are closer to your destination than your husband. So similarly, on the spiritual path, different spiritual practitioners are at different levels of advancement in the path. Some are way ahead, some are like way behind. So those who are way behind, they will not realize so much of God than someone who's way ahead. They'll be more God conscious. Okay?
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
So we finished at 190, right? So we'll stop here only. Yes, you can ask a question. Yes.
Prabhuji, like we say that Gopi's love is on the top level, but Radharani's love is ahead of them. So what is that additional thing Radharani is having that Gopi doesn't have? That's why we call Radharani ahead of.
So you'll have to wait for a few more verses. Yes.
So what is that extra thing in Radharani? Because every time we say Gopi's love is top, but Radharani.
So it's coming shortly. Right. We'll keep the suspense. Huh?
Very long time back, some Mohanakya and Madanakya bhava that she, which is very prominent with her. I heard very long time back about the various rasanas. So Ram Shakti Prabhu's class was very long time.
Okay.
Before Corona times, I just have a little remembrance. So correct me if I'm wrong.
So we'll discuss that in the next, probably in the next discussion it'll come up.
Story of that bee, that Mother Mangal saying, I can receive that feeling is only in Radharani and what it is.
So, yeah, so we'll discuss that next time. Because otherwise it'll like ruin the flow of the discussion. So any other questions or realizations you want to share? Where's the mic? Give her a mic. Yes.
My realization is I am a very poor practitioner because definitely, as you know, all Bhakti Vigyan Association, there's a lot of pressure. So my practice is absolutely interrupted and poor. I don't know it's not good. But since whatever little experience I have, I feel in Krishna consciousness that our human bodies are also very, very imperfect. Like there's so many flaws which we have.
Yes.
We also are not in a good health every time.
Ah.
Every time we are not able to keep a good standards of all the body and even not kirtan of the time very good standard.
Yes.
So definitely we have our own physical conditions also and so much of love also. So maybe because our practice is, at least my practice is very poor and interrupted, I feel very, very painful. So you can't experience that this life, even this imperfect human body. It's definitely the love of God that if it flows down, this body cannot even bear it. And even whatever little love or little recognition for God and Guru is required, in this imperfect body with a little imperfect imperfect, interrupted service, which is because various reasons not under our control, I feel we are not. Is it that because of so much imperfection, we are missing that bliss which Prabhupada wanted to give us?
So yes, sometimes the body can be a big challenge because if there are so many bodily issues, it becomes very difficult to sustain a level of enthusiasm. So,
And Prabhu, if it's, sorry to interrupt, even if it's just a physical disability, then you are always doing the smarnam. But the fact is, when you're also having physical difficulty plus anxiety plus there were different disturbances and different names, then it becomes even worse.
yeah, so there can be so many issues.
Yeah.
But yeah, the material world, like sometimes it poses a lot of different challenges, and sometimes we see people, even devotees, they go through many types of problems together. It's bodily ailments, mental ailments, relationship issues, financial issues. So many different challenges are there. So a lot of these things we don't have much control sometimes. Maybe due to our karma, whatever reason, we may be in this situation. So this should make us. I mean, what's the alternative? What's the alternative? There's no alternative. So we should seek shelter, and we should become more dependent, and we should realize that the material shelter is totally painful.
Material framework is defective.
Yes, it is seriously defective.
Because such great teachers, acharyas as Srila Bhakti Vigyan Thakura, his appearance day yesterday, he's so senior, he's a Mahabhagavata, he's even dreaming of Narada Muni.
Yes.
He's such a Mahabhagavata. But even in his life, we've seen the later part of his life, he suffers from stroke and so many physical illnesses. And he's a pure devotee, no karma, no sin. He's at a stage of akarma. How come he's having all these? It's not related to his karma. No?
Yes.
So how do we understand that such a senior person and elevated, pure devotee, they have crossed that wire of karma? How come?
So we have to see that, look what they're doing in that situation. That should be our inspiration. What are they doing? Are they complaining? That's what I'm saying. That what's the alternative? There is only one option, one good option. The other options are not good options. Yes. Today's disappearance of Haridas Thakur, Namacharya. So how, did he go through trouble in his life? So then, what did he do? What did he do? He took the shelter. So yeah, so this is what we have to learn. This is the greatness of our great acharyas. They're true Mahatmas. Why? Because even in the most difficult situations, they were so appreciative of God's greatness, His compassion. They completely surrendered everything. They took the Lord's shelter. And not only did they take God's shelter, they wanted to extend God's compassion to all living entities. I mean, just see what Bhakti Vinod Thakur has done. I mean, the kind of bhajans he's written around 100 books. He had 10 children. He was a magistrate. He had so many responsibilities. And if you hear about his childhood, there was more suffering in his childhood. I mean, there was a time, he actually grew up in he was born in a wealthy family, but when he was very young, things really fell apart. There were 2 deaths. Then his father died when he was around 10 or 11 years old. They saw a lot of material miseries. They didn't have any resources when they were young. In fact, they got him married at the age of 11 or something, right? So that, he would get a wife like Lakshmi Devi would come, so their fortunes would change. Can you believe that? His wife was like 5 or 6 years old. His match got fixed. That time, that was the culture. So the main thing is that we have to be convinced that there is no other option. There's no better option than taking God's shelter and taking the shelter of the holy name and taking the shelter of his devotees in any situation, whether it's good, bad, ugly. There's only one good option. And we have to have that conviction. And we'll only get that conviction when we hear from those who have that conviction. And those are our acharyas. We read the Bhagavatam. That's what they're doing. In all their crisis, in all their, glory, whether one is becoming coronated as a king, he's thinking, okay, this, Rishabh Dev, he's thinking, this body is for what? This is for Krishna's sake. Yudhishthira Maharaj, he's almost embarrassed to be the king. He's not thinking now, now we've won this war and now I'm going to enjoy it. No. He's feeling sad that just to establish me as a king, look what we all went through. And so many people have been killed. I mean, he was in that kind of mode of thinking. So all the Bhagavatas, we see in the Bhagavatam, they're super examples, they're super inspiration. That's why we have to, that's why Prabhupada wanted to take shelter of the Shastra. Because in times of distress, what will help us is the mercy of, these great souls. And we see even, I'm telling you, there are many devotees in our Krishna consciousness movement. I mean, they are such great examples. They've also been through hell. But they have dedicated their lives. There's some, so many, even devotee women, give up everything. Living alone, being so dedicated. So many devotees are there. They may not be in the forefront, but there are many, many devotees. If you go and you hear about the lives of so many devotees, there's so many great examples. So we shouldn't lose hope.
One question. So,
Yes.
We say that gopis surrendered everything for the Lord, and then we talked about ye yatha maam prapadyante, and Krishna declares and confirms that you take one step, I take millions of steps. And what holds us to take that one step?
What do you think?
Our conditioning, that is one.
Definitely.
And then say we want to take that one step, and then we go back and think about, okay, what will happen about this, and all those things. We try to do some planning at our end.
Yes.
So when we are doing that, is that we don't have faith on the Lord?
So the thing is that whatever steps we take, there should be someone guiding us. So we take the advice, because sometimes, the steps may be premature. So we take guidance. That's why we have devotee association, senior devotees to guide us. So we should use that, because they have that experience. Many of the devotees, they've been through these kind of things themselves, and sometimes they may have made mistakes. Sometimes they have learned, in a hard way, or so they can share with us. And then when we do it with the blessings of the Vaishnavas, it gives us more confidence, it gives us more surety in our decisions. Not that we're just relying on our own minds.
So can we say that Krishna actually guides us in the form of through his devotees?
Yeah, definitely. Krishna says, you take the shelter of my devotee.
So our surrender to Krishna will increase, because it definitely has to increase. That's for sure, because we are still at the same place. Then there's some issue.
But if you're not careful, we could even go down.
We could even go down.
Yes.
So now, if our surrender has to increase, so then someone who is guiding us has to be at an elevated level than us.
Definitely,
right?
yes.
Right.
Yes.
And he or she should be seeing that, okay, now the situation has changed. So previously there was a situation which was different, and now the situation has changed. So now he or she, who is asking for the guidance, can do X, Y, Z, or whatever.
Yes. Actually, the biggest challenge that we have, right, is that devotees rarely express their hearts to anyone. So then who's going to understand you? I mean, only the Paramatma can understand. Then you're based only, you're left at the Paramatma's guidance. But we are supposed to share our struggles, at least with one or two people in our lives. Otherwise, how will they guide us? This is one of the biggest challenges, because we all have a mask in front of us, right? The persona of being a devotee. But there has to be at least one or two people who we can share everything black and white, like, this is actually my situation. Otherwise, how will we get proper guidance?
And this is called real devotee association.
Yeah, this is revealing one's mind. It's one of the 6 loving exchanges.
Otherwise, it's all superficial, like,
Yeah, then we have this persona. Okay, Prabhu, yes, thank you, Hari Bol, and it's over. So it's not possible.
So the only the fear that devotees have in that is that whatever they're sharing confidentially with the other devotees, that should not be passed around.
Yeah, so there has to be that kind of a person.
Yes, and the trust has to be there, because that trust has to be there. That,
Yes.
I'm being vulnerable.
Yes.
But my vulnerability should not be a point of discussion.
Definitely. Otherwise, then it
doesn't make sense.
So you have to have that kind of people who you can share with. Yeah, bhakti is very personal. You can't, it's not like an online deal. It can be online, but you have to go online and really open your heart. It has to be one-to-one also. Yes, this satsang is very nice. We, in a more evolved society, people would be more honest. The more we evolve, the more we learn to become more honest. It's also easier to be honest when you're you're a little more advanced, because otherwise your struggles, you may not, it's not proper to share in public.
That feeling of shame,
Yes.
that actually stops you from being honest.
Yes.
Because then you feel that I'm.
So that's why you approach someone, and that's also part of surrender. What you're doing, you're just now just taking a little tinge of what we just read about the gopis. What did the gopis do? They risked their shame and they surrendered. Okay, so now I'm saying let's take like a little drop of that, and we have to approach someone. If you're struggling with something, otherwise, how will we, make progress? If we keep just a mask in front of us and, just wear the mask of a devotee, will we become actually devotees? We won't. So basically, we are missing out. We are, ना यहाँ के रहे ना वहाँ के, बीच में लटक गए, है ना?
Always says, what you reveal, you heal.
Yeah, so, yes, there you go.
Whatever you reveal, then you heal.
Yeah, so you have to go to a real healer.
Yes, that's true.
So you have to have at least one person. Like if you ask me, I write to my Guru Maharaj. On anything I'm struggling with, I just write to him. I don't expect that he will give me an answer to certain things, but at least I have shared that if I had a struggle, if I did, behave badly, so I just share. So by sharing only your pretension comes down. And you get really blessed when you share. I remember once, there was, after my first initiation, there was like a group of, there were 4 or 5 young people, we got initiated. So then after 2 years, there in the West, if you're there, after 1 or 2 years, you easily get your Brahman initiation. So then those who were getting initiated, right, those who got initiated with me, they were going for their Brahman initiation. So obviously, people start asking me. So then I was, but in those 2 years, I had one slip. So which I revealed to my Guru Maharaj. So I said, I'm not ready for Brahman initiation. So once there was pressure, it would be easy, क्या है, एक ही बार हो गया, चलो यार ले लो, किसी को क्या पता चलेगा? But by revealing that, you feel that yes, you are being honest, right? And that Krishna reciprocates. So what do you get? You get more of mercy of your spiritual master because you're honest. You get more mercy, then what does that do to you? Does it help you?
Yes.
Definitely it helps you. So this is where we learn. And Krishna consciousness requires brutal honesty. We can't make progress without being, See, honesty and humility, they're linked. They're like two parallel tracks. You can't be humble if you're not honest. Right? And you can't be honest if you're not humble. So when you do that, you will feel Krishna's reciprocation. If it is done genuinely with a genuine person, then you see it'll like your journey becomes like really beautiful, even with all the challenges. Yes, Virjani Mataji.
You said that when you have challenges, anything that bothers you, you write to your Maharaj.
Yeah, like not like frivolously, but
Yeah.
obviously after when I see this is becoming a problem for me, that it's becoming an obstacle on my faith or my advancement or my enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness, then I reveal it to him.
So, I'll just give a situation. You have a mentor, and over a period of time, you feel that.
You have a, sorry?
I'm saying you have a mentor, let's say,
Ah.
and after some time, the mentor says, "No, you are self-sufficient, so you don't need me," and you have Maharaj. So now the situation comes that you feel sometimes he has got so many people dependent on him, so you don't want to bother him with everything, but the matter is important to you. Not essentially directly related to Casey, but it's impacting your thoughts or your sadhana. Then would you approach him?
Depending on the type of problem. Like
Related.
suppose, for example, I'm going through a financial problem, right? Or if I'm going through a relationship problem, right? And if that relationship is very, very important, then at least I should share that.
You should.
Yeah, you should.
But isn't that not Casey and more personal?
Well, like how do you differentiate? If it's impacting your day-to-day life, it's impacting your Krishna consciousness, isn't it?
Yeah. Your thoughts are channelized in the wrong direction. Not wrong, but yeah, you're not focusing.
Yeah,
on
it's
what
taking
you
up a
should.
lot of your energy. It's reducing your enthusiasm for Krishna consciousness. It's making harder for you to focus. So basically, you take advice on how you can deal with that situation properly. Sometimes, we think we know it all. Yes, we may know the philosophy, but sometimes one like liner makes all the difference.
Does it make one very petty when you judge the person? You said earlier that bearing yourself is not easy. It takes a lot, and then when the person is either short or judgmental, that kind of puts you off. It's not easy to open up, but you also do need to.
Yes.
So how does one deal with that? Because you can't go to Maharaj for anything and everything.
Yes, so that's why you need to develop, and relationships take time. They take time to develop, isn't it? To develop that kind of trust, to develop that kind of faith in a person. You have to know the person. You have to spend time with them, interact with them before you start to open up.
Maturity of
Yeah,
that
you have to
person
see
also.
their maturity of their practice, how they think, do they really talk about others? If they're talking about others with you, then maybe, when you reveal, that is also going to go out.
Walk the talk.
Yeah, so they have to be that kind of mature person who's made advancement in Krishna consciousness, and who has, demonstrating the qualities that, of a devotee. Say someone, is always talking about others. Is that a good, would you take a risk with them? No. They have to be super confidential, they have to be super mature. Then you open up.
And if you don't find such a person, then?
Well, I think that then you have to pray. There are people around. It's not like, there are
haven't
not
found
people.
the right one.
Yes. You have to pray to Krishna.
And I think sometimes taking professional help also is okay.
Professional.
Now, depends on the type of problem.
Yeah.
No. If it's a
going to a marriage counselor.
No, I
It's
think
not
my
an
question was more in Casey, and if you've entered this path, you would rather be with devotees and you would seek counsel related to the field. I mean, I understand what you're saying.
Like if you have a wound and you feel a devotee will heal it, that's not possible.
No.
Yes, sometimes
Not
professional
doctor.
counseling may be helpful,
Yeah, so
but
you need to
again,
go to
it
the
depends
right
on the
person.
nature of the issue.
Casey related.
Yes, so then, yes.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. That was helpful.
Okay. Yes, one last question. Thank you, Prabhu. He's right in front of the patient.
Hi Krishna Prabhuji. Initially when I connected to Krishna consciousness, and then within 2-3 years I learned little, then I started discussing about with my colleagues and my families, thinking of distributing name of Krishna and let them know that how wonderful this is. Then you said our movement is preaching movement, where
Yes.
we distribute Krishna consciousness, and then it needs to be personal also. Bhakti is personal. Now people assumptions outside world, like it impacts your life. In terms you're preaching to some of your family members, and then you're doing nothing. In terms of your sadhana, you're not that much also. But just with simple line, if you're just preaching, there are assumptions like you're doing like very big thing. You have changed like you shifted to Vrindavan. A lot of assumptions people put on you, that you're doing this and that, and your life is something. And how do we tackle all those? Keeping bhakti as personal also, and then should not hamper our thought.
Yeah, so there will be all kinds of assumptions people make. Right? They may criticize you in different ways. They may have all kinds of expectations. But you go on with your practice, and you try to be a good example. That's all. And over time, people will understand that this person, is sincerely practicing. He's trying to be a good person. He's trying to, practice sincerely. And it's not that they will always agree with you. It's not going to happen like that. Just think, even in Prabhupada's life, did his wife always cooperate with him? And he's a Mahatma, he's a pure devotee. And his wife was very pious. But still, she didn't cooperate with everything that Srila Prabhupada wanted. Prabhupada was, he wanted to preach and he wanted to bring people to his house, but his wife didn't support him in that. In fact, at the end, she did certain things that led to Prabhupada taking some important steps for all of us. So, sometimes people understand us, sometimes people not understand us. We try our best. We try to be nice to people and then hope for the best. That's all we can do. We shouldn't try to enforce people by, our family members, even though it may be the best thing to do in the world. But what can you do? You try your best. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's Krishna's desire ultimately.
And with such people, we can keep our
respectful distance. We are always respectful. We do our duty, but we are not intimate. How can you be intimate? But yes, we can be respectful. We can do our duty. We can do, say, financial duty towards our family. We can do our emotional duty. But inside, we have to be detached in the sense we can't be intimate with them. We can be intimate only up to a certain point. Yes. Difficult to say no to you.
What if you always think, I think it's not required. If you always think, if you are going on with your some struggles, that it's, some kami in your sadhana that's leading to those struggles. So you should do your sadhana well. So what if you have always that mindset?
So is that good, or is it hindering you and you keep struggling?
Well, if you can do that, it's fine. But most of us, I don't know if we can handle that one. That okay, just keep improving your sadhana, everything will go away. Just keep improving your sadhana. Sometimes you may need help, like you may have a physical problem. Right? Now you need to go to a doctor and get it checked.
Not physical kind, but just struggles of normal life.
Normal struggles, so आप वो तो चलते रहेंगे, है ना? So those things you just like normal struggles, you just keep going, and you try to raise your consciousness so you don't get troubled by them. Daily normal struggles, you can't. What can you do? Okay.
I think what Mataji is saying is right. You have to have the mindset that my struggles are there because my sadhana is not good. Is also a good mindset, because if we reach up to the state of nama dāsā also, anyone, then most
Yes.
of the
So it's a good way if you can sustain that. But I personally feel that you should have, you could even have a friend. So in Krishna consciousness, we need 3 types of relationships. One is more evolved, right? Someone who's more senior, advanced, someone who's more equal, who you can joke around with and a little bit make it light and be relaxed. And then you also need people who you can share Krishna consciousness with and help them. Right? So when you have 3 levels, then your life becomes more wholesome. Is that okay? Thank you all very much for all your sincere questions. I hope I was able to answer them and help you in that. But yes, keep it churning. Yes. And we want to thank again Prabhuji for being so patiently, So we could not, many of you could not take advantage of his kirtan, so we hope he will come back again and we will be all on time. He was here on time.
Yes. He was the first
Yes.
one.
So, okay. So thank you very much. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Guru Maharaj ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol.